Far below him, the sea was waiting. He didn't know that yet. Right now, all he felt was wind, height, and the closest thing to flying a human being had ever felt. In the next few minutes, that exact feeling was going to kill him. This isn't the version of this story you learned as a kid. A boy, the sun, melting wax, the end. That's not even the part that matters. The real story is darker, and by the end of it, you will understand exactly why it survived 3,000 years. Stay until the end, because the real lesson isn't the one you think it is. Our story begins on the island of Crete, under the rule of King Minos, one of the most powerful kings in Greek mythology. At Minos's command was a man named Daedalus, the most brilliant craftsman and inventor the ancient world had ever known. Architect, sculptor, engineer. There was nothing Daedalus couldn't build, and that brilliance is exactly why Minos had trapped him. Years earlier, Daedalus had built something Minos regretted the moment it existed: the Labyrinth, an impossible maze of stone corridors designed to imprison a monster born of the queen's own shame, half man, half bull, the Minotaur. The Labyrinth worked exactly as designed. No one who entered it ever found their way out, not even, eventually, its own architect. Because once the maze was finished, Minos realized the danger sitting right in front of him. The only man alive who knew the labyrinth's secrets was Daedalus himself. So the king who once celebrated him locked him away instead, trapping Daedalus and his young son Icarus in a tower on an island completely surrounded by Minos's ships. Every escape route by land or sea was watched, guarded, impossible. But Minos forgot something. He could control the land, he could control the sea, he could not control the sky. Trapped with nothing but time, Daedalus began collecting feathers dropped by seabirds along the tower's ledge. Small ones, large ones, every size he could gather. He arranged them by length, largest to smallest, and bound them together with linen thread at the base, then sealed the smaller feathers at the tips with wax, layering them like a bird's actual wing. 2 pairs, one for himself, one for his son. When it was time to test them, Daedalus gave Icarus a single instruction, and this is the moment the entire myth actually hinges on. "Fly the middle course," he said. "Not too low, or the sea's dampness will weigh down your wings. Not too high, or the sun's heat will melt the wax that holds them together. Follow me exactly." Notice, it isn't just a warning about the sun, it's a warning about balance, about discipline in a moment of freedom. Daedalus wasn't just protecting his son from heat, he was trying to protect him from the intoxication of unlimited possibility after a lifetime of imprisonment. They strapped on the wings, they leapt from the tower, and for the first time in human history, 2 people flew. At first, it worked exactly as planned. Farmers and fishermen below looked up in disbelief, certain they were watching gods pass overhead. Father and son soared over islands, over open water, closer to freedom with every wing beat. Icarus had spent his childhood in captivity, behind walls, under guard, watched every hour of every day. Now, for the first time in his life, nothing was holding him back, and that feeling, after so long without it, is intoxicating in a way that's almost impossible to resist. Slowly, then not so slowly, Icarus began climbing, higher than his father, higher than the instruction allowed, not out of malice, and not even really out of foolishness, but out of something almost understandable, the pure, overwhelming joy of a boy who had never been free, discovering that he finally was. Daedalus looked back, and his son was no longer beside him. He was above him, rising. He called out, He shouted the warning again, but the wind was in Icarus's ears, and the joy was in his chest, and the one thing louder than his voice was the feeling of having no limits at all, for the very first time. The sun did what the sun does. The wax at the tips of the wings began to soften, then melt. Feathers began slipping loose, one at a time, drifting down toward the sea below. Icarus didn't notice until he was already falling. He hit the water and was gone. The myth says the sea itself carried his name from that day forward, the only monument he'd ever have. Daedalus circled, screaming his son's name into open water that had already gone silent. He gathered what feathers he could find, floating on the surface, and continued on alone. He completed the very same flight his son had just died attempting, because he, unlike Icarus, had followed his own instruction. Not too low, not too high, the middle course. He landed, he survived, and he buried what remained of his son on a nearby island, alone, with the wings that had almost saved them both still in his hands. Here's what most retellings get wrong about this story. The lesson isn't "don't dream too big" or "know your place." That reading makes Daedalus's warning about limitation, about staying small, staying safe, never reaching for anything extraordinary. And that's not what the myth is actually saying. Daedalus wasn't warning his son not to fly. He was flying right beside him. He invented flight itself. The real warning was about balance in a moment of newfound freedom, the exact moment when a person is most likely to abandon the wisdom that got them there in the first place. Icarus doesn't fall because he dreamed too big. He falls because, drunk on a freedom he'd never had before, he stopped listening to the one voice that had earned the right to guide him. That's a very human failure, not arrogance in the cartoonish sense, but the much quieter, much more common kind. The moment success or freedom or opportunity finally arrives, and the discipline that got you there suddenly feels unnecessary, optional, something for other people, not for you, not anymore. Every generation since has told this story because every generation keeps proving it true. The overnight success who stops listening to the mentor who built them. The person who finally breaks free of a hard chapter in their life and immediately abandons every lesson that chapter taught them. The moment things start going right is, statistically, one of the most dangerous moments there is, because it's exactly when people stop being careful. Icarus wasn't punished by the sun for dreaming. He was undone by forgetting, in a single moment of joy, that even freedom has a middle course.
Daedalus built the wings, but it was discipline, not feathers, that actually got him home. So here's the real question this myth leaves behind, 3,000 years later. The next time something in your life finally breaks free, a new opportunity, a new freedom, a long-awaited win, will you remember the middle course? Or will the joy of finally flying be the very thing that makes you forget how? If this story meant something to you, subscribe to Echoes of Myth. Every week we open another ancient story, because it turns out they were never really about gods and monsters. They were about us all along.